Hello, I'm David Ellenstein, Artistic Director at North Coast Repertory Theater. Thank you for joining us today for Theater Conversations. If you enjoy watching these, please click like, subscribe, and share. It's free to do, and it helps us get more visibility for these videos. Thank you. Hello, welcome to Theater Conversations. It's my pleasure today to be joined by my friend, the ultra-talented David McBean, who is, there he is. Look, he even waved. So David is, those of you in San Diego know what a good actor and funny guy and great singer David is, great performer. He's worked at most of the theaters around town at one time or another, and most of them many times. And I just want to start this off by remembering that when I started at North Coast Rep in 2003, the first play I actually directed at North Coast Repertory Theater was Charley's Aunt. And I had to find somebody who was spectacular, extremely funny, who could carry the role of Lord Fancourt Babberley, which is really the reason to do that play, is to have somebody who can take that role and really show off. And I was lucky enough to find David, and you know, we've done a bunch more together since, and I've watched you grow up.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you were in 2003. I think you were out of diapers, weren't you?
I was 25.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even think you were that old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, you were so clearly abundantly talented and accomplished even then.
Yeah.
So those of, you know, people in San Diego know you from all the different theaters, but were you born here?
I was born here.
Can you say like how you grew up and how you ended up going into the theater?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Claremont, near PB, and Pacific Beach. And my parents met at UCSD. And my father was a math professor at the University of San Diego. So I grew up here. I went to elementary school in Old Town. I went to junior high off of Imperial Avenue. And then I went to high school at the San Diego School for Creative and Performing Arts. So at that school really is where I was able to take an acting class for the first time. Before that, I had been taking piano lessons. So I was more of a musician really than anything. But when I started at SCPA, there were just so many opportunities. So I was taking kind of a piano class, but then the teacher for that also taught choir. So she heard me sort of just messing around and singing. And so she actually put me in the advanced choir my sophomore year. I had no idea what I was doing. So she actually recommended a voice teacher for me at that point. And I started taking acting classes. Actually, Priscilla Allen was one of my first acting teachers. And her dedication and her passion and her commitment was just so inspiring. So I did that, and then I went to USD because my dad had if your children, I think, can go for free, no tuition. So I thought, well, if I'm going to be an artist.
See, Lori Loughlin should have worked at UCSD, right? Sorry. Go ahead.
So it's the Catholic one. It's not the UC one, right?
Okay,
so,
right. Yeah, the one up on the hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went there and met Annie Hinton, who just opened my eyes to theater in this, theater as an art form, not just as like this way to self-express or this way to sort of explore what it means to be a person. It felt like escapism to me for a long time. Like I was like, oh, I don't have to be myself? Awesome, you know. But then to have a conversation about what theater does and how it can be, you know, critical or revealing of our society and perception. I mean, it just opened my eyes in this whole other way. So actually being able to work with her was one of the blessings, you know.
I was
what
going
we
to say
did.
that. So we did the play Glorious
Glorious,
at the
yes.
Conservatory Theater, and
Oh.
you played Cosme McMoon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And you got to work with Annie.
Yes.
And that's the Florence Foster Jenkins story, right? Yeah.
Well, and that was such a crazy opportunity, you know, to be able to play the piano and play this really fun, crazy character, and be with Susan, who was just hilarious.
Susan Decker, who played Florence Foster Jenkins.
Yeah. And then, like, every time Annie came on, it was just like, oh, so cool. So, and then I started doing. Annie actually recommended me to understudy at Diversionary when I was 19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the actor who I think has passed was HIV positive. So this was, you know,
right
when things were still shifting and the medications were new, and it was. So he actually ended up getting sick, and I went on for him for the whole run of the show.
Wow, what was the show?
It was called 10% Review. So it was like Lee Garrett was in it. Yeah. So these sort of mixes of songs loosely tied into the idea of it being, you know, we're the 10%, you know, whatever. And then that led to all these crazy opportunities. It sort of was this amazing, like, oh, and then I think the first show I did at North Coast was playing the piano, oddly enough, for Holiday Memories, a Truman Capote show that Sean Murray directed. And then I think after that was Pageant for the first time.
And how many times you play Miss Deep South, right? And you have a famous dance with the puppet.
Yeah.
Oh, I always think of the Charlie Chaplin with the rolls, but it's kind of the same thing, right? In a weird way, right?
Yeah, that was. I've gotten to do it 3 times.
Yeah, right.
So
I think of that for you. I think of that one, and I think of Fully Committed.
Yes.
Which the one-man show that you've gotten to do numerous times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Which you should do again.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about how much energy and like, you know, that was 10 years, 12 years ago. Like, oh man, that sounds like a lot.
It is. It's a ton of work. But so I just want to, for the North Coast audience, I just want to sort of recap the things you've done for us so they remember, because you've done so many great things for us. So I'm going to think, but School for Lies.
Yes.
The David Ives costume modern adaptation on the
so fun.
Yeah, right. Which was so much fun.
So fun.
And
with Jonathan, which was so special.
Jonathan's last stage performance, full stage performance with School for Life. Jonathan McMurtry.
Stole the show every night.
And canapes, right? Right.
Oh, bless. Love him.
Amazing.
Before that,
more recently, Travels with My Aunt.
Travels with My Aunt, yes.
Yeah, which was really fun to do. And All in the Timing.
Oh my gosh.
All in the Timing, which David not only played in 4 or 5 of the sketches, but also was the music director on Philip Glass Buys a Loaf of Bread, which was my favorite in the show, and it was insane, great, but really fun. And you did an amazing job getting everybody in sync on that one.
Worked them hard.
No mean feat on that either, because that's not easy. That was not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm leaving some out. What am I leaving out?
There was the one with Matthew and
Unnecessary Farce.
Yes.
Right, which he also Paul Slade Smith play, and then we did The Outsider just recently.
Oh, that was so great. I loved that.
And in The Outsider, if you remember correctly, one of the running gags is the governor who mumbles and you can't understand what he says. And you played in Unnecessary Farce a similar kind of role, the Scottish hitman who, when he gets excited, his brogue gets so
I wanted that part so badly. I wanted it so badly.
You were so funny.
Hard, thank you. I worked so hard for that callback.
You were so funny in that. You really
get that one monologue down, and I still kind of remember it.
How does it go?
I should have killed her by now, but I never killed till I played the song in my bags. So fun.
That was really
But
fun.
there was that one about they were on an island and
Oh,
they
Shipwrecked.
shipwrecked.
Shipwrecked. That was odd. That's one of my favorites. I loved with Ron Campbell and
Run, yeah,
Day.
Day.
Day. You guys were. That was such a good show. Really good show. Matt
I
Wiener directed that one as well.
Yeah, I distinctly remember some sweet ladies saying, I don't mean to make fun of them at all. It just was so emblazoned in my head. You make the best dog. You could be my dog anytime. I was like, I played other parts, but okay, you know.
It was the dog they remember.
Yeah.
Right.
So sweet.
Yeah, and those ladies that said that are probably watching this.
They probably are. Thank you. But yeah, so there was that, and then
What else am I forgetting?
funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Of course, funny thing happened on the way to the forum. You played very close to your own life, a procurer of women.
I mean, listen, typecasting.
Typecasting.
So fun.
Yeah, that was over the top fun.
Yes. Omri, come on.
Yeah.
He worked so hard on that.
He did.
Drenched in sweat every night.
Yeah.
And I'd like saunter on, do some funny stuff, leave, you know.
Right. And Jason Maddie in drag.
Oh my God.
Something not to be forgotten.
Epic.
So that's all stuff you've done at North Coast, but you've done tons of stuff all over town. And I'm not plumping you to say anything nice about a North Coast show, but I want you to think about, for yourself, you think about one or two that like really rang true for you and made you go, this is why I love doing this. Or what jumps to your mind?
I do think Fully Committed was such a unique experience. So much of what I love about theater is interacting with actors. I mean, actors are just the best. It's so great to be around them. It's so amazing, the community you form. So Fully Committed was actually kind of a lonely experience because, you know, once the director left, it was me in my dressing room, and the stage manager would come in and say hello and then leave, you know. And but the gift of being on stage, learning to just trust that whatever happened, you could just kind of handle it, you know. And I remember I think it was the first preview, I'm not sure what, maybe the second, the stage manager actually made a mistake. Bless. And I heard like a phone ring when it wasn't supposed to, and I stopped, and I just looked up and I was like, I'm so sorry. Honey, was that right? You know, and that the beauty of the audience just being right there with you, you know, it was such a gift. And learning to trust myself and really getting that the audience is another character, you know, another sentient consciousness that I get to feed into. It's such a gift. So that was really special. Working with Annie, I have to say, was really, there was just something so like, because I had such, I don't want to say reverence, but you know, the teachers that open your eyes and your mind to be able to share that professional space with them was a huge gift. It's just
kind of a full circle.
Yeah. And to be able to say and thank her for opening my eyes to the gift that theater has been in my life, and to share it with her was really a special thing. And then to do Pageant, I mean, what a ridiculous thing, you know. Like, my grandfather actually saw it before he passed, and I just remember feeling like, oh God, you know, my grandpa's gonna see me in a bathing suit, like I don't. So, he was so just like, oh, you know. So kind. So
we have to be bold and revealing, huh?
Yes. And I remember
not afraid to do that.
My mother saying, "Oh, my son was a beauty queen." That was always kind of a hilarious, special thing. The way she just embraced it and loved it. And
so you mentioned when you were talking about Fully Committed just now about that connection with the audience and how they're sentient and part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so weird about right now. I mean, everybody is doing, we were just talking before we started taping this about your teaching
Yeah.
theater and musical theater over the computer when we're trying to teach something that needs to be live.
Yes.
That what such an element of what we do is the fact that it is live and with the audience and with other people.
Absolutely.
And that connection between the performers and the audience.
Mhm.
When we take that away, we end up with this, which is, I hate to say this because we're doing it too. We're doing Zoom recordings and we're trying to do it really well,
Yeah.
but it's not a replacement. It's not the same thing.
It's not.
So what do you miss? I mean, you're teaching, and how is it different, and how are you making it work? What are you doing to make it work?
Yeah, thank you. We were talking about this. The lucky thing for me is that my students have been working so hard, up to March, whatever it was, preparing for their final performances, which is these big musical theater numbers, dances, all that kind of stuff, which obviously we can't do. But also their individual, they call them juries, which is like their finals, where they have to do a song and a monologue. So we're both, both the students and me, we're learning how do I give them feedback. So one of the things that I have them do is I have them do their songs as monologues to get a real sense of what they're saying and why and who they're talking to and all that stuff. So first I had them record themselves doing their song as a monologue. And then I gave them feedback about that. And it became weird things like camera angles, volume, well, the light's here and then I can't really, the sound is weird and all this stuff. So that was one element of it that I was kind of learning as we went. Then I had them, I sent them recordings of their accompaniment. So they had to play the accompaniment while recording themselves singing it, which was a whole nother thing of like, the sound levels and so that happened. And so this next step is based on all of the feedback I gave them, focal points are very different, like where the camera is, if you look away,
Right.
if you look down, like all of these things. So then the next step is they do it live through Zoom.
Okay.
Which has its own, sound issues and the
Right.
lag time and bandwidths. I don't know.
Right. It's a whole new world.
A whole new world.
Let's get back to the other one.
Yeah.
So David, looking forward,
Yes.
once this has lifted,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any roles out there you really would like to play?
Well, it's funny that I got to do one preview of La Cage aux Folles, and I was really looking forward to being in the space where I could just be present, and not thinking, what's my next costume change? I was really excited to tell that story, this, like all the sequins and the fun and the dramaticness of it. I was really looking forward to that. So if there's a way for that to happen, I would be really grateful.
So just so the audience that doesn't know, you were in rehearsal and got the first preview of La Cage aux Folles at Signet, and you were playing Aubin?
Yes, the Zaza Aubin, the drag queen.
Yeah, what a man. We were at the end of our run.
Yeah.
And we were 1 week into rehearsal for our next. So we got we lost 1 week of the run of the one that was on, and we only got 1 week of rehearsal, which was very disappointing because we were excited about what we were doing. But I can only imagine the kind of feeling of having something yanked out from under you when you got as far as you did.
Yeah.
And then having it taken away.
Yeah.
I know, what a disappointment. But hopefully hopefully it will be back, right?
I hope so. I hope all the costumes are made.
Right.
But other roles, I don't know. There's certainly some musicals that I'd love to do.
What comes to your mind? You go, I want to play that.
Yeah.
I want to play that.
So this is so odd, but so Sweeney Todd.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that I'd want to play Sweeney Todd anytime soon, but Pirelli is a fun role. And I don't know if it's just because I have like the day job now and like I always have two jobs at least. There's something lovely about those bit parts, where you come on and you do your thing and then you can go rest. Like I kind of feel like, well, I've played enough leads. It's like I'm good, But so
you have that countertenor for Pirelli?
I do, and what I love is that it's the idea that I'm not a tenor, you know, and so there's that added level of deception. You know, it's like, well, he's Irish pretending like he's Italian. He's a bass baritone pretending like he's a counter. That's my concept anyway. Nobody's really bought into it yet, but yeah. So that's one. Oddly enough, I don't. I really try to stay open to what theaters are producing.
Right.
And seeing how I can fit into that rather than having like designs on anything.
Yeah.
And I've been so like pleasantly surprised. I think like Travels with My Aunt was such a great opportunity to explore characters that I, you know, like never had the chance to play before. That was really cool.
That was a fun, I enjoyed that show just because it was so theatrical, you know?
It was so great.
Just you four guys playing 28 people and very little set and props and just, I mean, that's my favorite kind of theater, where it's really the actors.
I loved being present for your process in that. Watching you during tech was so exciting because you just got these inspirations and like you were so specific about your vision for things and how like the pictures would come up and how it would, like all of that stuff. I really enjoyed watching you do that. It was cool. I don't think I've ever said that to you before.
Well, thank you. Thank you. For me, tech's always about focus.
Yeah, it's great.
And focusing on the work that you guys are doing, because
yeah,
my work should be invisible, right? So as the director should be invisible, and the director is about focusing the things on the great work that's being done on the stage. And you guys were also good in that. It was a joy.
Fun. Yeah,
it was fun to do. So what's your hope going forward here? What's your hope for us, for us theater world, the world and the theater, which
world and the theater
blurred, right?
I know. I've had people in my life get sick, and I'm sort of 1 degree away from people who have died. I don't know anyone personally, but it's like a friend's brother, or you know. So I'm sort of erring on the side of caution. My father's in his 70s, and it's, you know, we're staying far apart, but I'm seeing him. So I'm trying really hard to just not put myself in any sort of situation where I might get sick and not know it, and then, you know. So where I'm at, I think, is erring on the side of probably too cautious. I live alone too, so there's a lot of time to just sort of ruminate about, oh gosh, you know. So I'm working on that, you know, like let's not engage in the fear. Let's engage in like calming that sort of impulse. But I think in terms of the future, yeah, I think there's some things that need to be put in place for people to feel safe. And I don't know what those things look like, and I hope there'll be funding to support those efforts.
Yeah. What about once we're past this, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, once we're past this, I think one thing that's really shown up for me is, I think when theater becomes a job, a hazard is you're constantly, okay, well, what's the next thing, and how do I, instead of really like settling into the joy that you can experience. And actually during Travels with My Aunt, I was really trying to refocus and find joy in the process and joy in the performance, instead of thinking of it as, okay, well, this is my job. So that's been a great thing, to have time to pause and really appreciate what gift I have been given as an artist, including with music. You know, like I really relate to music as a job. And so I'm trying to like this has been an opportunity to rediscover the joy, for sure.
Well, whatever gift you've given it back to the audience manyfold, David. You're a pleasure, not only as a performer, but as a person. And I always enjoy working with you and knowing you. And so I hope there's many more for us.
Me too, David. Thank you for every gift you've given me. And
thank you for doing this today for the audience. And
absolutely.
And, stay safe, and we'll see you very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.